Hey guys, Hecon's here with another World of Warcraft guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at gold making with Inscription. To be honest, I hadn't really tried making gold with Inscription until this expansion, but a friend of mine said it was worth taking a look at, so I decided to make this guide while I leveled up my priest, who is my scribe, and to try and make some gold with it. I played around with Inscription over the New Year's weekend, and am making an easy 10k gold per day, which is a nice supplement to our current gold income. Before we get started though, if you plan to level a scribe in the near future, I would recommend going to the Darkmoon Fair, which is going on this week through Saturday, and getting the inscription recipes from Professor Thaddeus Paleo. He sells the rank 2 and rank 3 recipes for the Darkmoon Card of the Legion and the Prophecy Tarot. These can be purchased with the Darkmoon prize tickets, so you will need to do some Darkmoon Fair quests. One easy way to get tickets is with the quest turn-in items such as the Monstrous Egg, which you find running dungeons or PvP. Remember to get the Darkmoon Adventurer's Guide and keep it in your bag. If you key up for a dungeon, you should see a lot of these drop. I've had some runs where I've seen 3 or 4 of these drop. To buy all 4 of the recipes, it will cost you a total of 340 tickets. Once you get the rank 1 recipes, you can use these to learn the rank 2 and rank 3 recipes. The rank 1 Prophecy Tarot comes from completing the level 100 inscription quest, and the rank 1 Darkmoon Card of the Legion comes from completing the level 110 inscription quest. Getting these now rather than later may save you some hassle, since the Darkmoon Fair may not be going on when you need the rank 2 and rank 3 recipes. So the first method of gold making with Inscription we're going to be taking a look at is making glyphs. And to get started with that, we're going to need some herbs to mill. Our main source of gold is going to come from turning these herbs into pigments, then taking those pigments and making them into glyphs and other items. Here we have 1275 Dreamleaf that I'm going to mill into roseate and sallow pigments, which are the 2 Legion tier pigments. There are 2 main reasons why we mill Dreamleaf. First, they are relatively inexpensive when compared to other herbs. On my realm, they go for around 20 gold each, and this is very close to the US average selling price of 22 gold according to the Undermine Journal, so they should be around this price for most other realms as well. Second, milling Dreamleaf provides us with nightmare pods, which we can open for additional pigments and Ysoraline seeds. In addition, when opening these, you get a chance at proccing additional pods, so they're going to be a good way to get even more pigment. So after milling all that, about 25k worth of Dreamleaf, we ended up with 539 roseate pigments, 63 sallow pigments, 26 nightmare pods, and 4 Ysoraline seeds. After opening up all of our pods and milling the Ysoraline seeds, we ended up with a grand total 918 roseate pigments and 94 sallow pigments. As you can see, the nightmare pods are extremely valuable as they provided us with an extra 379 roseate and 31 sallow pigment. If we check on the auction house, each roseate pigment is going for around 35 gold, and each sallow pigment is going for around 175 gold on my realm. Again, like the Dreamleaf, my server price is very close to the average selling price on all US servers according to the Undermine Journal, which pegs the prices at 38 gold and 181 gold respectively. Just by taking the time to mill our 25k worth of Dreamleaf, we ended up with about 48k worth of pigment, and we're going to make even more by turning these into glyphs. You could stop here and sell the pigments as is, but there's going to be way more potential for gold making by taking it one step further and turning these pigments into glyphs. Once we have all of our herbs milled and our pigments prepared, we're ready to start making some glyphs. I already checked the prices of all these glyphs beforehand and know that any of the Legion level ones will sell at a hefty profit, so I'm going to make one of each until I run out of pigments. Please note that I did have some pigment in my bank, which is currently not shown in my bags, so we will need to account for that when we look at our cost basis. So after crafting all of those glyphs, we used a total of 580 roseate and 124 sallow pigments to make 15 glyphs, which have an approximate combined total current market value of 86.6k gold. Our opportunity cost to sell the Dreamleaf that we used to make the pigments was around 33k gold, if we add both the pigments in my bags and my bank. With those numbers, we're looking at a net profit of about 50k gold after everything sells. We're going to list all the glyphs that we made and check on them tonight before we go to bed. Okay, so it's been about a day and we had one glyph sell. Luckily it was one of the more expensive glyphs, so we got 10k, or about 9.5 after the auction house cut. Our cost to make the glyph was 8 sallow pigment plus 40 roseate pigments, which works out to 2800 gold, so we made an easy 6.7k gold. Once one of our glyphs sells, we're going to make sure to craft another one and throw it up on the auction house. We can craft more so that we have multiples of each glyph on the auction house at any given time, once we have a nice reserve of both pigments, but for now we're just going to throw them up one at a time. Now that we have glyphs up on the auction house and gold coming in, we're going to take a look at other ways to spend our excess pigments. Songs of Battle and other music rolls are a good option. The recipes are on different trainers across Azeroth. Here I only have one since I haven't gotten around to picking them up yet. The Scroll of Forgotten Knowledge is another good option, since it doesn't require any silo pigments to craft. So we're going to go ahead and craft 3 of each of these, in addition to 3 Codex of the Tranquil Mind, which do require silo pigments, and throw them up on the auction house. Again, we're going to check on these when we wake up in the morning, and relist if we need to. Hey guys, it is day 5 into our Inscription gold making experiment, and we're going to check our mail. If you're wondering how I jumped up to 40k gold from the 22 that I had a couple days ago, we had a few auctions sell that I did not have an opportunity to record. The 2 big moneymakers were the Glyph of the Sentinel for 5k and the Glyph of the Voidlord for 9.5k gold. In addition, we've dinged 100 and farmed more Dreamleaf, enough to craft at least one of each of the Legion glyphs that we have unlocked. It looks like we've had 4 glyphs and a Songs of Battle sell while we were out today, which brought in a total 25k gold. We're going to craft glyphs to replace the ones that sold and relist all of our auctions. We're up to about 66k gold from our starting 13k, or we've had about 53k in gold revenue in just 5 days, or about 10k per day. We're still sitting on quite a few excess pigments, so we're finally going to craft a steamy romance novel kit to try and flip. This costs an exorbitant 24 salo and 50 roseate pigments, so it's not on the top of our priority list for crafting. However, since we have so much pigment, and I saw 0 auctions for this on the AH, we're going to be the price setter and ask for whatever amount we want. Again, these do tie up a significant chunk of our resources, so we're going to only craft 1. In addition, we're going to use the extra roseate pigments to craft some of the pre-Legion glyphs. We can do this by talking to Jessica Sellers in the Inscription shop at the New Dalaran. She will trade you any pre-Legion ink at a 1-to-1 ratio, or 10-to-1 for the rare pigments, but we're going to ignore these for now. Okay, so I'm going to pick up 200 each of the pre-Legion inks to stash in my bank, craft 3 of each of the pre-Legion glyphs, and throw them up on the auction house. Hopefully a few of them move overnight and during the day tomorrow. So we're day 6 in, and we're going to check our mail. We had quite a few auctions for glyph sell, about 5.6k worth today. A few of them we did technically sell at a loss, if we look at it in terms of the number of pigments that we used. But keep in mind that when we mill Dreamleaf, we end up with a lot of excess. In addition, the bulk of our gold is coming from selling Legion glyphs, and the gold from other items is inconsequential. However, we do still want to make use of our pigments and not have them sit in our bags, since that represents a capital outlay that has yet to produce an income. We're finally set up enough to start looking to craft Dark Moon cards of the Legion, so we're going to mass mill 5,000 Dreamleaf for about 100k worth. We need 1 Fellwort per craft, so we have 100 in our bags, and we can also choose to mill the extras for additional sallow pigment. The Fellwort on my auction house was down to about 100 gold each, so I bought them out. Of course, it depends on the price of goods on your realm, but I think this is a great price to pick them up at if you do not have an herbalist to farm them on. Our mass mill of 5,000 Dreamleaf yielded 209 sallow pigment, 2,091 roseate pigments, 200 Euceroline seeds, and 98 nightmare pods. After milling all the Euceroline seeds and opening our nightmare pods, we ended up with a total 3,547 roseate and 333 sallow, or the materials to craft about 30 Dark Moon cards of the Legion. Again, we also have extra pigment in our bank and Fellwort to mill, so we should be able to make close to 40 cards. We're going to craft everything and see what we get. So we did get a nice variety of cards, but unfortunately we did not complete any sets. We were 1 card away on our Promises deck, so I'm going to buy the extra card we need for 9k and throw the deck up on the auction house. On my realm, they're going for anywhere between 100k to 140k each. However, I looked on the Undermine journal to see what the prices were like elsewhere, and the average selling price is around 60 to 75k, which is quite low. However, if you look at the quantity, it is also quite low, under 40 of each across all US realms, so it may still represent an opportunity on a lot of realms out there. With any craft, make sure you're getting a substantial return on the amount of gold that you put in. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with the extra cards. We can either try and get more cards to complete the sets, or simply sell the cards individually on the auction house. I'll probably do a follow-up video to show you guys what I ended up doing and whether or not I made gold with it in a future guide. In closing, I wanted to mention Vantis runes and relics that scribes can also craft. These may be a good source of gold income as well, but I didn't touch on it in this video since I haven't done any raiding on this fresh 110, and I only have one of the relic recipes for the 2 relics that scribes can craft. Anyways, good luck to all the scribes out there with your gold making, and I hope this video was helpful. The next 2 videos I'm going to be rolling out are the part 2 to the enchanting guide, and also one for flipping BOEs that I've had a lot of people ask about. I did have 2 really big days this week. Yesterday I had about 250k in BOE sales, and the day before that I had about 460k in BOE sales, or over 700k over 2 days. So I figured it would be a good opportunity to finalize the guide, and I'll be working on these over the upcoming weekend. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more content from me, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Late.